And we're live.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 60 of Kids Deserve It. Todd, I can't believe we've already done 60 episodes. We
Wild,
hope you've been
wild.
crazy. We hope you've been enjoying our weekly chats with educators and game changers from around the country. Also, don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes.
And we always want to encourage you to pick up a copy of Kids Deserve It yourself off of Amazon and share it with a friend.
Also, don't forget to join our Kids Deserve It chat on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and check out Todd's Periscope right before the chats at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This week, we got another great guest, but first we want to introduce ourselves. I am Adam Welcome, Director of Innovation and Technology in the Bay Area of California.
I'm Todd Nesloni, elementary school principal in Navasota, Texas. And this week, we've got a special guest with Beth Huff. Beth, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Beth, did I say your last name correctly? Is it Huff or Hoof?
It's Huff. You got it right.
Okay, awesome. We want to also remind our viewers to participate via social media and share out on social media with the hashtag Kids Deserve It, all the great stuff that you're hearing.
So, Beth, we have a few questions for you. So, for those who don't know about you, tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, I am the very proud principal of Fulton Middle School in Fulton, Missouri. I'm about right in the middle of the state. I'm finishing up my second year here at Fulton Middle School. And previous to that, I was 7 years principal at McIntyre Elementary School across town. And then before that, a 4th and 5th grade teacher. So that's kind of what I do. I'm also a mom of 2 very energetic young men. Paul is a 7th grader here with me at Fulton Middle School, and then Dawson is a kindergartner. And I have had the honor of being Paul's principal his whole life. So
wow.
He's excited to go to high school, and I promised him that I will not go with him.
That's hilarious. So you've been an administrator for a few years now. What would you say is probably your favorite part of leading a school?
Well, I love, kids, exactly. I mean, they're the reason why I do what I do. But I also love working with staff. And that's something that I didn't mention, but I'm also very proud to get to co-author Lead Like a Pirate with Shelley Burgess, which is coming out next month. So getting very close for that to be out. And something that Shelley and I reflect on a lot in the book is that, we always want to do what's best for kids. But in our role as administrators, how we can do best for kids is supporting and inspiring and working so hard with the staff that get to work with the kids. And so those are 2 of my big favorites. I mean, I'm not gonna lie at all. My favorite thing is in the morning, welcoming kids in with high fives and dance parties and crazy hats. And I didn't know if middle schoolers would like that too much. And sometimes they roll their eyes, but more than not, they want to go grab hats and come outside and join me on the fun. So we make it a really big deal on Mondays to celebrate Monday, and again on Fridays for Fly High Fridays. So we always make sure that we bring the karaoke machine out and sing and dance and do whatever it takes to get smiles on people's faces.
I can attest to that. I've seen some awesome photos of you on Twitter and hats and doing handshakes and dancing and stuff. And even when it's cold out there too, right? You get after it.
It was a little chilly Friday, but we had the whole crew out on Friday. We'd had kind of a rough week here. And when we do that, especially with our staff, I always invite folks, and it's definitely not mandatory because you can't force culture on people. You invite them and get them excited about it. But we do fist bump freeways. And so we have our staff, any staff that'd like to join us at 7:30, they come down. We did high fives, but till we all ended up with the flu. So we try to do fist bumps that are a little more hypoallergenic and
the more snot.
Better there. The nurses are more excited about the fist bumps than the high fives. So, but it's just, whenever you're having a rough day, that's just one way to get everyone excited to be at school. And when the kids kind of own it and they want to do it, they'll do it without us, which is they've made posters and
Nice.
they hit I am a proud pirate. I have a special dresser just in the other room that has all my props in it. And so I realized that I might have a problem when I have to buy my own dresser for my own,
Nice.
all of my stuff.
So, Beth, what's something this year that you're like really proud of that you've accomplished, or maybe like you're almost accomplished it, you're kind of getting close to it?
Well, I think for me, it's the shared leadership within our building. I think as leaders, we have to really realize where we need to lead from. And sometimes we need to lead from the back and be completely out of the way and get out of the way. But sometimes we need to lead side by side, and sometimes we need to lead in the front. And I think that We just have to really know when and where. When I had the opportunity to come to Fulton Middle School, I needed to lead from the front more. They needed to see that I was 100% in and doing whatever it takes to get things done. But then this year, what's been awesome is I've had staff members that have really taken the lead on different projects. One of our ELA teachers, Tiffany Sargent, at the beginning of the year, she put out a daily Twitter challenge to staff. And so that really helps our hashtag explode. And that was the whole, although, as you guys both know, I'm very into social media and how it can pitch and promote the awesome things happening in your building. You know, if I'm the only person doing that, that really isn't what it's about. And so something that she did is she put out a daily Twitter challenge and then went into a hooks challenge, then tied that in the month of November and December. So it was so neat to see her take off with that and then be supported by her peers. Something that we just started recently, we knew we need a little climate control. February tends to get a little tough around, you know, state testing isn't here yet, but yet we know it's coming. And that kind of, you know, you can tell people get a little nervous about that. And so something we started was the golden hashtag. And so our teachers and staff in the building pass that around each day to someone who's just done a great job of sharing out the learning from our students. So for me, it's about showcasing the awesome through social media, but not just it being about me. And then also just being able to build our culture through a hashtag. So it's great to show the world what we're doing, but even more importantly, it's awesome at the end of the day to be able to go through TweetDeck and look at, you know, and our staff members do this. They look at what's happening in each other's classrooms, and it really helps us build that team, family environment that we strive to be so much here at our school.
Love that.
Awesome. So what would you say is probably the hardest part about being in education?
I think I started to mention it a little bit, the state testing. I mean, I really think that I try so hard to live the pirate lifestyle of everything that's about kids. It's not about tests. But then at the end of the day, we still have that ever-changing accountability. It's a struggle. And I know that you all have had that happen in your states. Well, the standards change. We're kind of hitting, you know, we're shooting at moving targets. And there's just got to be a better way that we can show what we're doing besides the one size fit all that we're doing right now. So that's frustrating. But I never, you know, that's never the focus or the target or you know, our mission is not to do well on tests. It's all about how are we doing what's best for kids every single day in what we're doing. So I think that's tough because for me personally, I get exhausted and I can never show that because you know, we are the emotional guide for others in our position. And so when I start to get stressed out or exhausted, that definitely trickles over to our staff and then eventually to our students. And so for me, it's just that keeping it up, even though we continue to have so many political factors, I think that happen, especially lately.
So Beth, we know that school for your kids has been awesome because they've had an awesome principal like you, but what was school like growing up for you?
Well, I was actually, and this is very hard to believe, very, very shy. I was very much a wallflower. I tell this story when I go out and speak to the folks that I have the opportunity to speak to. You know, I'm one of those people that I really probably am not supposed to be in the role that I was. My parents were both very, very young, 14, when they found out that I was coming along. And so in mid-Missouri, in that day and age, that's definitely not, you know, people didn't go into roles like I am now whenever they were brought into the world in that way. I was blessed to have parents that, although they were still trying to grow up themselves, figured out the whole parent thing, and amazing grandparents and amazing teachers that reached out and helped me. And then that's how I kind of realized that I wanted to get in school to be a teacher as well. So I wasn't the traditional student. I definitely struggled. And so in coming from a different background, growing up in poverty at times, it helps me have a totally different way that I look at kids and look at kids' backgrounds. And so a lot of times families don't realize that until we start to build those connections and build those relationships. But I didn't love school, but school was a safe place. And school kind of was my ticket to bigger and better things than maybe what was destined to me at the beginning.
Nice.
So when you're having some of those rough, tough to get out of bed days, what do you kind of do to kick your butt into gear?
Well, lots of caffeine. Definitely lots of caffeine. I tell this to the staff all the time. When I am dressed up the most, that is when you can tell that I am the most tired. So like I get out the nice suit or whatever that they don't normally see that I wear. On Friday, I pirated it up even more with a costume or something like that. that's what I have to do is I kind of go back to the roots of why am I doing what I'm doing. I go in and make sure that I'm in classrooms and I take a ton of pictures and those are the days you'll see me posting the most on Twitter as well, because those are the days that I know I'm struggling. So I need to go out there and appreciate what I'm seeing in classrooms. Sometimes when I get frustrated with, a setback at school, I do the same thing because I have to not focus on the one negative and go realize how many amazing things are happening within our building. And there's so much out there. And sometimes it's also just connecting with a PLN member, getting on Twitter, checking out the Kids Deserve It hashtag is an awesome hashtag to check out. TLAP is another one that I look at a lot. Those hashtags help me inspire me. I had the opportunity to co-host Sat Chat West Coast with Shelly Burgess as well. And last week, I kind of was selfish in this. I got the opportunity to host with Shelly, and I said, hey, how about if we talk about climate control? But that was really because I was struggling with just how can I get the climate going here? How can I ignite it here in our school a little bit? So even hosting a chat got me going again about, okay, I could have stolen all these ideas from all these people, and now it helped our building. So we did a whole lounge remodel last weekend after the chat, and folks came up on their Sunday afternoon and helped me make the school a better place for their staff members and the kids. So just
I love that. Ideas. So you're writing a book, you've written a book. Tell us about it.
Yes. So exciting. I am so blessed to have met the Burgess family. I actually kind of take it back a little bit. 2014, I was at a place where I really was contemplating changing professions, because that was a point in time when we were so heavy in No Child Left Behind still. We were, the school that I was at previously, when I started there, we were a focus school. We were, a failing school and had to send letters out telling parents that. And we embraced that and kicked its tail and said, no, we are not. And we were one of the first schools to come off that list. But still, it just seemed like no matter how hard we worked, we still had that looming over us. And I just had kind of lost some of my passion. And that's when I realized, I love teaching. Why do I think that when I'm an administrator, I have to change that? And so I went to a conference in the NAESP conference, and it's kind of similar. I remember reading your story about it too, in Kids Deserve It. That conference, I had an opportunity to meet other people, and Jay Billy, that's how we connected. Actually, we met there, and he said, do you use Twitter? And I completely just turned him off. I was like, I do not need one more way of learning about what the Kardashians are doing. And he said, no. This is the way you can get connected and learn from other great educators. And at that point, that's when I realized this is what I was missing. In administration, it's a lonely place, and I don't have anyone else in the building at that time in elementary that did the same job that I did. And so being able to connect and build a PLN changed my life and got me back to doing what I needed to do. And also at that conference, that's when I heard all about Dave Burgess. And I really didn't know what we were talking about. I checked, he Skyped in or something like that. And I listened to him speak, thought he was a little crazy, which he is, and that's okay, because I am too. And I Googled Teach Like a Pirate, and then I found Shelly's blog and read about it. And that's how I met Shelly, was reading her blog, actually Lead Like a Pirate. And so we talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the book. And we kind of started a friendship that evolved. And she finally said, hey, I think we need to write this book. And so I started out by doing some presentations, and then the book came, and it's been an amazing, as you guys know, an amazingly, awesomely complicated, but so invigorating experience. And I cannot wait to share it. I'm a little nervous, but very excited to share it with the world next month.
But wait, so in 2014, you weren't on Twitter? Like just 3 years ago, you got on Twitter? Is that right?
I had a Twitter account.
Okay.
It may or may not have had a picture with it, but I had about 40 followers at the time, and the people that I was following when I met Jay Billy. And then, now I definitely drink the Twitter Kool-Aid.
Just the testament, like within 3 years, you can be connected how you are. I mean, have a book coming out and just like be worldwide. Like just another great story to get off your island. I think chapter 2, Todd, and get connected. I love that, Beth. Love it.
So, Beth, who is somebody that inspires or challenges you to be better?
Wow. Well, I'm going to actually start with like the roots of everything. It's my kids, my own kids. They're my why. Anytime people, like whenever I think it's easy to go back into, complacency, I always think about my own 2 kids. And I've been blessed to be my oldest principal. And I always think about, am I the type of principal that my own kids would be proud of? And so I think that's the first first two that I think about. And secondly, I'm inspired by the staff that I work with. You know, teaching is such a tough job, and I get the opportunity to substitute teach quite often because we have a sub shortage. It seems like everybody is having that, but that's another thing I do too when I need to get it uplifted, is to go in the classroom so that I don't ever get rusty in what I'm doing. But the staff that I work with, they motivate me and push me every day to try new things and be the best that I can be for them. When we're looking like outside, there's so many in the PLN, you know, your book, reading it too, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, but I mean, it just inspired me to go, okay, these are more things I can do to not only help kids, but help staff, because that, like any adult in the building that I'm helping is then going to help our students. Dave and Shelley Burgess are definitely mentors, as you guys know. Todd Whitaker is another one. I had the opportunity to have him here in our building this week, which was a little bit nerve-wracking, but he is actually across just about 20 minutes west of here now. He's back in Columbia, Missouri, and he mentors one of our teachers here. And so he came in to visit the building. So that was great. You know, there's so many people out there. The PLN, you know, my PLN is there who makes me who I am. I really feel like, because I see what everyone's doing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's such a great idea. How can I take that and do these different things? So blessed to have great PLN members. I've mentioned some of them already, but you know, Jay Billy is an awesome elementary principal who pushes me all the time. Steph Rosh, she is, you know, we have been friends from the beginning with TLAP as well, and just to see the great things, she always gets me. Anytime I think that, you know, I've reached my maximum, I look at what others are doing. I'm like, oh, I've got so much I can keep doing. And I think I read a post that you posted on Facebook today, Todd, and I was like, oh my gosh, he feels that way too sometimes. So that's good, because, you know, it's nice to be pushed and inspired by others.
All right, the time has come. Every
Awesome.
week, we'd like our guests to leave a challenge for our viewers. What is your challenge for the week?
All right, my challenge for this week, and I'm going to be the first one to take this challenge, is if you are an administrator in whatever role you are in as an administrator. So if you're at central office, if you're a leader within a building as a coach or an innovation specialist, or whatever your role is, Adam, I know that it sounds pretty cool, but I challenge you to get as many classrooms as you can and drop anchors of appreciation. That is something that Shelley and I talk about a lot as we have blogged with Lead Like a Pirate. And for me, my goal is tomorrow is to be in 15 classrooms for 2 minutes each. That's just 30 minutes, but I'll stay in more than 2 minutes probably, and drop an anchor of appreciation for something that I have seen. And something that we talk a lot about is that appreciation doesn't mean that we like, or it's good, or it's great, or it's awesome, even though I use those words a lot. But dropping an appreciation is taking time to let a staff member know truly what you appreciate about what they're doing for your building to make it a great place to be. So that is my challenge for you this week.
I think that is a great challenge. Well, Beth, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We know you're crazy busy and it's your weekend, so we appreciate your time.
Thank you guys again so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
And we want to thank everybody for watching the show. And remember to tweet us using @KidsDeserveIt on social media, or the #KidsDeserveIt. Join our Twitter chat on Wednesday, and check out our guest next week, who is Travis Crowder. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.